Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanam Chari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Bolo 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 Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Gaur Pimanande, Jayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Shirabai Charan Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Skandi Biti, Founder Charya's Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Samavata Bhakta Vrinda ki, Harinam Sankirtana ki, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Tiny Thai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada ki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Taksuran Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Dutta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakhanditam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vansakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the Supremost Human Being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, and unto Sri Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayasabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and the loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Shakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God as Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Mukham karoti vasaram pagum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our morning Bhagavatam. Special welcome Sunday today. All the way from Canada, coming to attend Bhagavatam class. Fantastic. Before I forget it, this special message especially for Matajis. Really? Wow, yes. I don't often give messages, especially for Matajis, but you can keep it in mind because you have different contacts and friends. For our Gurukula, just a short parenthesis before we go into Bhagavatam. For our Gurukula, because we're going to have young boys, we are not accepting boys over the age of 7. Yeah. The Prabhupada actually gave that instruction. Yes. So between 5 and 7.
They get bad habits after that.
Yes. Nowadays, even possibly even before that, but yeah. So we're looking actually, the more traditional Gurukul in our Vedic culture was that boys would go to the house of the Guru who was a Grihastha. So we're looking for couples. A couple of couples. Or at least one couple, husband and wife, who want to dedicate themselves to be teachers or ashram teachers in the Gurukul. We can talk about it later. You can just keep it in your mind. Just put it somewhere there. Yeah. Okay. That's also important for our other devotees here. In the Varnashram college, it will be men, because it's a men's Varnashram college we are promoting and proposing. But for the Gurukul, we're looking for a couple. And of course, down the line, there needs to be more more of an outreach also for providing certain type of education for our ladies as well. That's another topic to bring up. But for the time being, we will now go into our...
When will the Gurukula start? Approximately.
We are waiting for the full blessings of the Lord. Blessings have already come in different ways. And soon.
As soon as possible.
Yes, as soon as possible. We are now in a new chapter since I believe you last... No, actually, we started chapter 10 from the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is entitled Departure of Lord Kṛṣṇa for Dvārakā. Were you here for that last time?
I'm familiar. Actually, I've been reading with devotees in Vancouver.
Okay.
And we're almost...
There, huh?
We're almost in the same area.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, last chapter was wonderful. The departure of Grandfather Bhishmadev, and before that was the prayers of Queen Kunti. Wonderful instructions.
Yes, I was here.
Yeah, and also here, of course. So today's text number is
15.
15, huh?
Yes.
15. 15. So 15 actually has no purport, so we will read 16. I mean, we'll also read, but we will recite actually 16, 1 6. Hare Krishna. Jai. I was wondering why our Krishna Charan was leaving Bhagavatam class. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Sorry, we couldn't find our way. We're getting lost.
It's, you're not the first ones. Quite understandable. Welcome to the land of Mahaprabhu. Please sit on the mat. Yeah, just make a little bit of room. Just in time. Just like, yeah. So, Canto number 1, chapter 10, the departure of Lord Krishna for Dvārakā, text number 1, 6. Prasada Shikararuddaha Kuru Naryo Didrikshaya Vavrishuhu Kusumai Krishnam Prema Vrida Smitakshanaha Prasada Shikararuddaha Kuru Naryo Didrikshaya Vavrishu Kushumai Krishnam Prema Vrida Smitakshanaha Prasada Shikararudhaha Kuru Naryo Didrikshaya Vavrishu Kushumai Krishnam Prema Vridha Smitakshanaha Prasada Shikararudha Kuru Naryo Didrikshaya Vavrishu Kushumai Krishnam Prema Vrida Smitakshanaha
Prasada Shikararudha
Prasada Shikararudha
Guru Naryo Didrikshaya
Kuru Naryo Didrikshaya
Vrishu Kusmai Krishnam
Vrishu Kushamai Krishnam
Prema Virbrida Smitakshana
Prema Vrida Smitakshanaha
Prasada Shikararudha
Prasada Shikararudha
Guru Naryo Didrikshaya
Kuru Naryo Didrikshaya
Vrishu Kusmai Krishnam
Vrishu Kushamai Krishnam
Prema Vrida Smitakshana
Prema Vrida Smitakshanaha
Prasada Shikararudha
Prasada Shikararudha
Guru Naryo Didrikshaya
Guru Naryo Didrikshaya
Vrishu Kusmai Krishnam
Vrishu Kushamai Krishnam
Prema Vrida Smitakshana
Prema Vrida Smitakshanaha
Prasada Shikararudha Guru Naryo Didrikshaya
Guru Naryo Didrikshaya
Vavrishu Kusumai Krishnam
Vrishu Kushamai Krishnam
Prema Smitakshanaha
Prasada Palace Shikara the roof Arudhaha ascending Kuru Naryaha the ladies of the Kuru royalty didrikshaya, seeing, vabrishuhu, showered, kusumai, by flowers, Kṛṣṇam, upon Lord Krishna, prema, out of affection and love, vridasmita ikshanaha, glancing with shy smiles. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Sridham Prabhupada Ki. Out of a loving desire to see the Lord, the royal ladies of the Kurus got up on the top of the palace and, smiling with affection and shyness, they showered flowers upon the Lord. Kindly repeat after me. Out of a loving desire to see the Lord, the royal ladies of the Kurus got up on top of the palace and, smiling with affection and shyness, they showered flowers upon the Lord. Purport. Shyness is a particular extra natural beauty of the fair sex, and it commands respect from the opposite sex. This custom was observed even during the days of the Mahabharata, that is more than 5,000 years ago. It is only the less intelligent persons, not well versed in the history of the world, who say that observance of separation of female from male is an introduction of the Mohammedan period in India. This incident from the Mahabharata period proves definitely that the ladies of the palace observed a strict parda, restricted association with men, and instead of coming down in the open air where Lord Kṛṣṇa and others were assembled, the ladies of the palace went up on the top of the palace and from there paid their respects to Lord Kṛṣṇa by showers of flowers. It is definitely stated here that the ladies were smiling there on the top of the palace, checked by shyness. This shyness is a gift of nature to the fair sex, and it enhances their beauty and prestige, even if they are of a less important family or even if they are less attractive. We have practical experience of this fact. A sweeper woman commanded the respect of many respectful gentlemen simply by manifesting a lady's shyness. Half-naked ladies in the street do not command any respect, but a shy sweeper's wife commands respect from all. Human civilization, as conceived of by the sages of India, is to help one free himself from the clutches of illusion. The material body of a woman is an illusion because actually the body is made of earth, water, fire, air, etc. But because there is the association of the living spark with matter, it appears to be beautiful. And no one is attracted to an earthen doll, even if it is most perfectly prepared to attract the attention of others. The dead body has no beauty because no one will accept the dead body of a so-called beautiful woman. Therefore, the conclusion is that the spirit spark is beautiful. And because of the soul's beauty, one is attracted by the beauty of the outward body. The Vedic wisdom therefore forbids us to be attracted by false beauty. But because we are now in the darkness of ignorance, the Vedic civilization allows very restricted mixing of women and man. They say that the woman is considered to be the fire and the man is considered to be the butter. The butter must melt in association with fire, and therefore they may be brought together only when it is necessary. And shyness is a check to the unrestricted mixing. It is nature's gift, and it must be utilized. Translation again. Out of a loving desire to see the Lord, the royal ladies of the Kurus got up on the top of the palace and, smiling with affection and shyness, they showered flowers upon the Lord. So, as we have been discussing in the last, not only in this chapter, but in the previous chapter also, in hearing the various instructions from Grandfather Bhishmadev, when we hear such instructions, when we see the activities of great exalted personalities, such as the Pandavas and those who were relatives of Lord Kṛṣṇa, we get what is called glimpses. We get some understanding of what is actually the Vedic culture and how things are meant to be, which obviously is a stark contrast to what it is today. So this point, which is very important, being brought out in this particular verse. Actually, I forgot to read the previous one, which has no purport. I'll do that real quickly here. Text 15, which is preparing this text here. The translation directly here. While the Lord was departing from the palace of Hastināpura, different types of drums like the mṛdaṅga, dhola, nagra, dhundurī, and dundubhi, and flutes of different types, the vīṇā, gomukha. What is gomukha from India? Gomukha.
It's a drum, isn't it?
Gomukha.
Oh, it's cow urine.
Gomukha?
No?
No, it's called gomudra. What is it? What is cow urine?
Comes in the Bhagavad Gita. Let me see.
Gomudra. Mutra.
Oh.
Yeah, no, this is mukha. Mukha means mouth, no?
Flute. It's some kind of type of flute.
It's a type of flute, eh?
Flute.
Flute, yeah, flute.
It's a flute.
Well,
I have one.
and bherī. All different types of musical instruments, all sounded together to show him, means Kṛṣṇa, honor. Kṛṣṇa is about to leave, And then we have this verse we have just read now, which is underlining, a very important, essential, fundamental, and absolutely needed or necessary aspect in terms of the Vedic culture. Uh, what is meant to be the interaction between men and women.
Prabhupada translates gomukha as horns.
Ah, horn. Okay, yeah.
First chapter.
Yeah, different thing. Just like the the cowherd boys would carry different, bugles and horns you can make from the horns of buffaloes or whatever like that.
I knew there was a cow involved.
Ah, yes, yes. You were very close, actually. Yes. So this is a, again, fundamental principle, which is, we could say, well, meant to be obvious, but not always obvious. Meant to be obvious for those who are practicing Krishna consciousness, because the whole problem in the material world is this identification with and attraction to this material body and things in relation to the material body, means our senses, our material senses and our material mind. So just like tapasya brahmacharyena samena cha damena cha, very important instruction, explaining how the basic principle and training actually in brahmacharya life is to actually learn to control the mind and the senses. And therefore there is a planned segregation of men and women in the Vedic culture. And this is demonstrated here, as Prabhupada mentions. The ladies didn't just go out with everyone else where close to where Krishna was leaving. They went up together on the roof, and from there they smiled at the Lord. They smiled with affection, with love and affection, and with shyness. So the word shyness is very important, and Prabhupada explains how it is a natural gift of nature, a natural gift that is there, that is meant to be there, especially for women, which actually is meant to check their, we could say, unlawful. One of the meanings of dharma means law, to establish different laws. So when we intermingle, when we have a society, which is modern day society, that allows unrestricted association between men and women, this, according to Vedic culture, is unlawful. Unlawful. Why? Because it takes us away or deviates us from the primary, let's say, goal and objective in life, which is actually to become more and more fixed on the path of self-realization, isn't it? And therefore, what is the most major distraction actually for the majority of conditioned souls in the material world is this illusory and false attraction between men and women. I mean, sex attraction, which is of course a reflection of the original attraction which is there in the spiritual world, is what is blinding and distracting the vast majority of people in the world. And therefore, of course, when the primary goal of life is unknown or not followed, primary goal of life being self-realization, then that becomes secondary. In other words, there is no restriction, rather the opposite is there. There's propaganda for more and more association between men and women. It is, as we know, being promoted and being advertised because the understanding, false understanding, is that that is how we can become happy, that is how we can get pleasure, etc. like that. Not knowing that actually the more we allow such type of unrestricted association, which leads to all kinds of undesirable activities, ultimately sinful activities of material sense enjoyment, then the more we actually become entangled in the material world, and the more we increase actually our suffering. The more we enjoy materially, the more we increase our suffering. It's kind of like ironical. The more we try to enjoy materially, the more we actually build up and create our future miseries and suffering in the material world, because we become more and more entangled. We create more and more karmic reaction. So this is actually a very important instruction for us as devotees as well within our ISKCON society, because we are having, obviously, both men and women as devotees, and especially we could say in the present context of our society, of our ISKCON society, we have different views that are being expressed and promoted, and quite opposite, quite opposite. And therefore, this is very directly connected actually with what is meant to be the ideal culture, what is meant to be the ideal Vedic culture. And sometimes devotees will present the argument that actually we don't have to follow Vedic. We're not really Vedic. Isn't it that people... Prabhupada did so many things that were not Vedic. What's the problem? So, for preaching purposes, yes, one may be, like it's not Vedic according to the Vedas to take a boat and cross over the ocean. It's not Vedic. Like when I was a new devotee, I'm sure you experienced that as well. Our temple, which was on Besserer Street in Ottawa, was a house. I mean, it did not look at all like a temple, but that's not so bad. But in that house, it was not a big house. Also, both men and women were living together. And not only that, but there was only one bathroom. And in the early morning, we had to wait in line, for men to go, for women to go, and whatnot. So it's like when you're living in close proximity, I mean, you could not avoid coming in, having darshan, or seeing one another. Of course, there were obviously restrictions and whatnot. So this is like in India, it's not something that you see, men and women living in very close quarters and whatnot. I mean, even in Calcutta, the early days of the Calcutta temple, I mean, because it was not so much space was there, so men were living on one side and women on another side, and it was just a curtain that was separating. So for preaching purposes, Srila Prabhupada did introduce and allow, ladies would go out preaching in book distribution, and men and women. Of course, they had generally parties for ladies. So for preaching purposes, certain concessions, we can call them concessions, were there. But our long-term goal and objective is actually to show and demonstrate what is meant to be the ideal way, the ideal, we could say, lifestyle, whereby that ideal lifestyle we can get understanding, especially from Srimad Bhagavatam, from the examples that are there, from the instructions, especially this aspect of shyness, for example, is nicely explained and referred to in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam, where Narada Muni gives a whole presentation about, isn't it, Varnashrama? So Srila Prabhupada's desire, very clearly expressed and often very often spoken about as well, was to to establish that Vedic culture based on these basic principles of Varnashrama Dharma. Otherwise, he would not have spent so much time discussing it. And definitely, Srila Prabhupada wanted that we follow, that we understand this particular aspect, for example, of separation. As a matter of fact, when there was discussion in the context of Varnashram College, anyone who has read this particular exchange and discussion between Srila Prabhupada and his some of his most senior disciples, they were talking about so many different things of how Varnashram College will be established and what will be the subjects taught there. So at one point, I believe it was Satswarup Maharaj who asked the question, is the Varnashram College also for women? Have you read that section?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So Prabhupada answers, no, the Varnashram College is going to be for men. And Prabhupada explains how the subject matters in the Varnashram College will be primarily to train individuals to become Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, who will be taking on, because these are the 3 primary individuals within society, within the Vedic culture. There are what is called natural leaders that are meant to give direction and guidance actually to the general population. So in the Vedic culture, it is, again, major contrast to what we see in modern day society. But if we look at the Battle of Kurukshetra, if we look at the whole, let's say, ideology of what is called monarchy, the natural leaders, the natural fighters are men. The natural leaders in society, because when you're a leader, you have to interact with so many people. And in the Vedic culture, it is not the business of women to interact with so many people, especially unknown people. This is a little bit subtle, maybe, to and maybe delicate or sensitive to discuss and possibly to understand. But Vedic culture advocates, just like here very openly, very clearly, Prabhupada explains, that within the Vedic culture there is built-in separation of men and women. And modern day society is promoting actually the opposite, isn't it? So this, what we call gender equality, gender equality is a modern concoction. Gender equality promotes that there is no difference in terms of men and women, and they can take up any kind of activity in any type of profession, which is not in line actually with the Vedic teachings. And therefore it needs to be looked at, especially I would say initially by our own devotees, so that there is proper understanding. And I know that there are, again, opposite understandings and views of this, which is in one way forcing us to more deeply and more closely look and understand at the basic components and principles that are at play. One of our major, I would say, disadvantages, one of our major problems in trying to understand this is that the majority of our devotees, because of the whole modern setup, are not living a lifestyle which is being advocated by the Vedic in the Vedic culture. Lifestyle which is helping us understand the real meaning of education, the real meaning of economy, the real meaning of governance. That is especially found and demonstrated in what is called the agrarian lifestyle that is advocated in the Vedic culture. Actually, agrarian lifestyle, which means a lifestyle closely connected with land and cows, I would say is extremely difficult for the general mass of people to understand. And I would further go on to say that it is also extremely difficult for the general mass of devotees to understand. Because there are hidden, we're going to be starting a podcast soon.
You're going to be starting a podcast?
Yes.
Oh, very good.
And we're looking at what title it would be, right? Your Supreme. So it just crossed my mind. It will be something like, the hidden truths of Varnashram.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are so many hidden, let's call them in our Vedic context, hidden tattvas, hidden principles, just like a very obvious and simple one, which is directly connected with Varnashram College, which we don't have established within our society, and that's one of the reasons, one of many reasons, we cannot understand about Vedic culture. We don't have, we've not introduced the proper training as Prabhupada wanted us to do, and therefore we don't have proper examples or communities that are living those principles. But economy, which is everyone's, every country is mad after economic development, isn't it? But when we look at Vedic culture, Vedic economy is very different from modern day economy, isn't it? Modern day economy is based on exploiting and extracting from Mother Earth all kinds of natural resources and opening all kinds of factories and producing, to a large extent, things that we don't really need, isn't it? We have lost the real understanding of what is actual wealth. Wealth in the Vedic culture is in terms of land, in terms of animals, especially cows, wealth in terms of natural resources of nature that are meant to be meeting our basic, necessities of life. So there's a need. There's a very Hare Krishna. There's a very, I would say, urgent need to uncover, to unveil these hidden truths that are actually hidden in the Vedic culture, that are hidden particularly in the Varnashrama culture. We have a treasure house of hidden truths in terms of bhakti, but we are failing to understand that we also have a treasure house of jewels and hidden information in the lifestyle that Varnashrama Dharma is advocating. And therefore, Prabhupada makes this point, not only Srila Prabhupada, Grandfather Bhishmadev also makes this point. Can you find that verse we were reading last few weeks ago in the previous chapter, where that very important word, losing my voice, to accelerate, remember? What is it? 27 or something?
26.
Huh?
26.
36.
20.
26, huh? Read the verse. And then the first line of the purport. Bhishma Dev, just to put in context, Krishna, as we know, arranged that whole scene where Grandfather Bhishma Dev is on his bed of arrows, and Yudhisthira Maharaj is morose, like Arjuna, and Grandfather Bhishma Dev has been chosen, that's Krishna's arrangement, that in that very difficult situation of being on a bed of arrows, he's going to instruct him on the principles of dharma. So he begins by saying,
At Maharaj Yudhishthira's inquiry, Bhishmadeva first defined all the classifications of castes and orders of life in terms of the individual's qualifications. Then he systematically, in twofold divisions, described counteraction by detachment and interaction by attachment.
Yeah, that in itself may be a little confusing. But Grandfather Bhishma Dev is beginning to instruct on the request or by the questions of Yudhisthira Maharaj. He's beginning to speak about the four natural divisions, social divisions, means the varnas, and four spiritual divisions, the ashramas. And if you can speak a little more, a little louder, maybe you can come a little closer here, because I have a hard time. Well, our audience has a hard time. Yes. So just the first line. Just hear attentively this first line of the purport given by Srila Prabhupada. Loudly.
The conception of four castes and
The conception of four castes. Castes. Yes.
And four orders of life, as planned by the Lord Himself, Bhagavad Gita 4.13, is to accelerate transcendental qualities.
To accelerate transcendental qualities. To accelerate transcendental qualities. To accelerate transcendental qualities, and then
Of the individual person, so that he may gradually realize his spiritual identity and thus act accordingly to get free from material bondage or conditional life.
Period. That's the end of it. Okay, great. Sit down, relax. Very important point.
Yes.
That, Grandfather Bhishma Dev, he's not anybody. He's one of the 12 Mahajans. So he's telling that actually the system of Varnashram is meant to accelerate the development of our spiritual qualities. The same thing that Prabhupada in that conversation is telling when those are making the argument that, I thought we're just to be devotees, we're meant to be followers of Lord Chaitanya, chant Hare Krishna, right? Chant Hare Krishna, dance, take prasadam, be happy. then Prabhupada explains, well, it's not at all easy to be a Vaishnava, and therefore Varnashrama is necessary to become Vaishnava.
That's
Same
what most devotees don't
get.
understand.
Yes. So that means that we're not sufficiently reading such instructions, or if we're reading them, it's like, we're not taking the time to actually understand what Prabhupada and other acharyas are explaining and telling us. So it's just like, we have expressions like, before becoming Krishna conscious, we have to become conscious. Isn't it? Before becoming spiritual beings, we have to become human beings. You can't just be spiritual and kind of like bypass the basic human qualities that are meant to be there in terms of being, sensitive to others, to have gratitude for what other people are doing, etc., like that. So Varnashrama is very much like it's not a goal in itself, but it's a platform to reach actually the ultimate goal. And if we prematurely cast it aside, as we tend to do, and as we are doing to a large extent within our ISKCON society, then we are actually not in line with what is actually being promoted and what is being explained by our acharyas. And ultimately we are committing namaparat by disobeying the orders of the spiritual master.
We're also creating chaos.
We are contributing.
Within
Chaos is
society.
already there, but yeah, we are creating chaos.
Because we don't have properly trained brahmanas, mostly. We don't have properly trained kshatriyas, vaishyas. No one knows how to take care of a cow.
Yes.
Most people don't even know the difference between a cow and a bull. I've had devotees ask me.
It's that bad, huh?
It's that bad. It's that bad. Most people don't even know that a cow has to have a calf before she can give milk. So many devotees think cows, they just give milk.
Yes. But one exception. If a cow is a devotee's cow, that cow may give milk without having a calf. We have some in Indonesia.
But we did a little survey one time.
Okay.
And we were amazed that at least half the devotees, we asked directly, does a cow have to have a calf?
Right.
So that she can give milk?
Right.
Half the devotees answered no.
Yeah. Yes, but you know why? Possibly one of the reasons why devotees answered no to the question, does a cow have to have a calf? Because we have a number of examples of cows who give milk without having calf.
Yes, but those are by far
I know, the exception. The exception amongst the exception of the exception.
Right.
Yeah. Correct. But what you say is quite true, that, many people don't even know that milk comes from cows. You go to the supermarket to get your milk. I mean, children, they won't know.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
And most devotees also think that cows are quite happy. There was actually a campaign, when I was writing Bhakti Milk, I read this.
Yes.
There was a campaign by the government at one point that all the dairy farms should have pictures
of happy cows.
Of outside showing happy cows.
Yes.
So that people have this idea.
This is part of the false propaganda. Actually, Mataji has written a book called Bhakti Milk. Before you leave Mayapur, you have to get a copy of her book, Bhakti Milk, which is promoting ahimsa milk, beyond ahimsa milk. Yeah. Because beyond ahimsa is bhakti, isn't it? Right, yeah. So she's a staunch supporter of Bhakti milk, yeah, and anything related to that also. There's our Gosala coming up, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, really, yes. It's about to become manifest. So, any maybe comments or questions on what we have?
One question.
On the subject matter?
Yes,
on the subject matter. Yes.
Yes. Yesterday I read in Mahabharata that the cow.
Yes.
The cow, when we have to take milk from cow when the calf eating grass. But the Arvind Prabhu is telling me, he has a cow, that if we wait to calf to eat grass, the cow is not going to milk. The cow is stop going to milk.
I can answer that.
Oh, she can answer that. You read that in Mahabharata.
Yes.
That the calf, the milk should be, the cow should be milked when the cow is eating.
We should take milk from cow when the calf is eating grass.
When the
calf
is eating grass.
When the calf is eating grass. Okay, you can answer that. I have something on that also.
No, you go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
No.
It's the topic of this class. Yeah.
Let's get this right now. You have read, you're conveying to us what you have read, that the cow should only be milked when the calf is eating grass. Is that correct? The cow, we should only take milk from the cow when the calf is eating grass. Is that what you said? That's what you read.
Cow is giving milk, but we don't have to take from cow.
Then how you get milk if you don't take from cow?
Before calf is eating grass, we should not take milk from cow before the calf is going to eat grass. For certain time, calf is not eating grass. He only drinking mother's milk.
Okay, and I'm just trying to really clearly understand the statement that we should not milk cows until. Okay, this is the point.
This is the point.
This is the point.
Until the calf is eating grass.
Until the calf is grown up enough that it can eat grass.
Yes.
Yeah. That's more, I think, a bit more clear. Yes. Is that true or not?
It's true.
It's true.
And it's much better for everybody, even the human beings.
And it's much better. How long does it take for a small calf to be able to eat grass?
The first month of after birth, the cow and the calf should be together.
My question.
How long does it take? Because usually in the first month, the calf is not really eating enough.
How long does it take for the calf to be able to eat grass on its own, so that we can, according to what is being said here, that we can milk the cows?
It's actually a gradual development.
Not answering my question.
In the first few weeks after birth, that calf needs mother's milk.
What is I'm asking a specific question.
What is the exact time?
What is the approximate time? Because there's no, what is the approximate time? I believe it's about maybe 4 months, 3 months minimum.
They will start eating before that because they will be with mother and they will watch.
Mother and start to imitate.
And they will, but they don't eat enough that this is full nutrition.
So there's a kind of a...
so there has to be a gradual...
Right. The point being, actually, and I think we all agree on this, which is not followed in modern day dairy, the point being that actually the calf is the first living entity that should have full access to milk. And that, as you were about to explain, and I kind of cut you off a little bit, the calf actually needs that milk in order to grow and to put on weight. And if that is allowed, then the calf will become strong and healthy, And that calf, whether it's male or female, if it's a bull, later on will become a very powerful, very powerful, potent bull, and therefore will increase or the quality of the progeny. And if it is the calf is a cow, that cow will, because of being more healthy, will be able to give more milk.
And she will give healthy progeny.
And she will give healthy progeny, correct, yeah. There's a whole science which is unknown in modern day society. So it is very good to read from Mahabharata and other such literatures to actually get more, deep insights in the subject matter. Good point. Good point.
The point is Arvind Prabhu is trying to say, if we wait for calf to eat grass, so the cow is going to stop going to giving milk.
That's absolutely not true.
Oh, that's absolutely not true.
That's absolutely not true. Prabhupada says in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:17:3 that because of affection,
Men have come, workers, just check.
because of affection for the calf, because the cow is so happy, and because her calf is with her, she will give an abundance of milk. And at Mayapur Goshala, this was experienced directly. When Dharmakunda took over Mayapur Goshala, the calves were separated from the cows.
The mother.
And they were not getting mother's milk.
Not happy.
And there was one cow. She was so ornery.
She was what?
Ornery. She was so agitated and irritable that the Ghosh came and said to Dharmakunda, who had just taken over, I won't milk that cow. She kicks me every time I tie her legs. She kicks me. I won't milk her. So Dharmakunda said, fine, don't milk her. He found out who was her calf. He put her and her calf together in the same pen, and he just said, leave her alone. She's hardly giving any milk anyway. Just leave them alone. And within a short period of time, her milk bag was so big that milk was dripping from her milk bag.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Any other quick question, comment? Karma yoga. I mean, this is generally the signal to end our Bhagavatam class when people start coming around, workers. Anyways, it's usually the time we close our class also. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Gaura Pimanandi.
Actually, Maharaj, it's so